Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say Alexa or Hey Google, play the podcast called Corvette Today, and you're connected. Also, visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteTodayPodcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you visit the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And don't forget, join the Corvette Today Facebook group. We have over 3,600 members, and I'd love to have you as a member as well. And don't forget about the YouTube channel now for Corvette Today. See all your favorite Corvette Today podcasts now on YouTube. First, I'd like to thank our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique design styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an absurd value starting at only $19.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And now use the new promo code CT111. That's CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com with the new promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Also, midenginecorvetteforum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at midenginecorvetteforum.com. Also, a shout out to CanadianCorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette owners from around the world. It's time to get the latest Corvette news and headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. As you know, Keith is here twice per month, every other week, to keep you up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, welcome back. It's the unofficial start of summer, and we've got some hot news for everybody.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Finally, June's just right about in the corner here, and summer show season is underway, so let's get to it.
Sounds good. Well, let's start out, as we always do in Corvette news, by getting an update on production at the Bowling Green Assembly Plant.
Well, you know, we had something that only happens once a year, and that's the startup of the new model year of Corvettes. They were scheduled to start on May 23rd. However, we got an early start as they completed the 2022s on May 19th. So they started them up on Friday, May 19th, with 97 Corvettes built. As of last Friday, we should have surpassed about 1,000 cars. I don't have that number yet for last Friday's production numbers, but we are closing in on the first 1,000 cars already built for the 2023 model year. So that's good news as well. Unfortunately, we don't have any 70th anniversary Stingrays yet. Those cars are on constraint. We should have some more constraint news probably in a week and a half or so. We're waiting for the June allocations to come out. So we're probably still a couple weeks away from that. But it looks all good so far. Final VIN for the 2022 model year, as shown on these production charts, is 25,165. However, there may have been more completed. That's not the total amount of cars. There may have been more completed via the pre-productions that they do in the CTF car. So still waiting on the full 2022 model year production stats from Chevrolet. They released that through the National Corvette Museum, so hopefully we'll have those shortly as well.
That sounds good. 25,000 is a healthy number for 2022. I'm obviously glad the 2023s are starting to roll off the line. Also, I saw that the destination charge raised by $100, so it's $1,395. Gosh, I remember back in the good old days when it was just $995.
Yeah, we've really been hit by inflation and fuel costs right now. And, you know, imagine shipping cars all around the country with diesel fuel costs at $6 or more right now. It's crazy times for sure, and that's probably why we see that. These are mandatory fees. I always have people ask, do I have to pay the fee if I'm doing a R8C delivery at the museum? And the answer is yes. The destination fees are required. You know, they were set up as to be one fee because they didn't want dealers that were closer to the factory to have a cheaper price in their cars because their destination fees were less. So it is just one standard fee. It's a mandatory fee, and unfortunately, it's gone up by $100.
Yep, it sure has. Also, Corvette added 2 new videos to the C8 Z06 Academy. Keith, every time I watch these videos, I get so excited about the upcoming Z06.
Yeah, these are exciting things. Anytime we get official videos from Chevrolet, we have a little bell on our desk here that we ring. We get all excited about it. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. The first one was called Conquer the Air, which is all about the aerodynamics and downforce of the car. Features Kirk Benyon, the exterior design manager, talking about, how downforce and these aerodynamics affect the drivability of the car. Really good stuff. So the first one's all about the outside of the car. And then the second video, The Beauty Within the Beast, which is all about the design, craftsmanship, the choices of materials inside. Obviously, the Z06, we're going to have some more upgrades with that level 2 carbon fiber and some additional things like some upgraded door panels. Good stuff coming there. So The Beauty Within the Beast was the second video. These are 5 videos now that are on the C8 Z06 Academy on YouTube, and you can search for it through there, or you can go through Chevrolet and find them there. Once the Z06 starts to come, we'll probably get additional videos that show how to operate and program and do some of the customizations of the car. But right now, it's just giving us a broad overview, and we'll take whatever we can get.
Absolutely right. I can't wait, buddy. And like I said, I get excited every time I watch these videos, so it's a lot of fun. Also, the National Corvette Museum names Brian Baker as the Director of Collections and Education. So is he the replacement for Derek Moore?
Yeah, it looks like it, although Brian Baker's really got an impressive resume, and it's not just curating cars. He was a senior creative design manager at General Motors.
Wow.
Also served as a vice president of design and marketing at American Specialty Cars and an adjunct professor at Automotive History College for Creative Studies in Detroit. The guy's got some gravitas in the automotive industry. Founded a company called Auto Archaeology, a design consulting firm that represents automakers and patent design issues.
Wow.
And he also serves as an on-camera expert for Discovery Channel and an automotive historian for ESPN. So I would say that we are extremely lucky to have him as part of the National Corvette Museum. I'm looking forward to meeting him. He starts in June. We'll cross paths probably at the anniversary show in September. And so we welcome Brian to our great Corvette hobby, and I think he's going to fit right in.
I think you're right, Keith. I'm looking forward to meeting him myself, and we'll get him on the podcast. That's for sure. We'll get him on the show. Also, there was a study that actually showed used C8 Corvettes were going down in price, and that was from January. Is that really correct?
Actually, the study was from April, but it looked at numbers from January, and that's where the decline comes from. A little bit, maybe are we starting to see the cost coming down? We're not talking the MSRP cost. We're talking about the amount that sellers are charging over MSRP.
Right.
So it's still obviously more than MSRP, but we might be seeing a pullback. This is an IC Cars study. Obviously, we've been featuring them over the years. Their January 2022 study found that C8 Corvette Stingrays were selling for 20% more on average, with an average price of $16,645 more. That number pulled back slightly in April from 20% down to 16%, with the average price selling at $13,500 more. They're still selling way over MSRP, but we did see that number kind of pull back. There could be a number of factors involved. We've got 3 model years of production. Older cars with higher miles are going to bring down that average price anyway. There'll be some more factors there. Maybe we'll get another study in June or July that does another 3-month breakout and looks back at that, and then we'll know if there's a trend developing or not. I think it's definitely possible just because there's a little over 60,000 Corvettes out there now, C8 Corvettes that have been produced over those 3 years. There are definitely possibilities that you could actually save a little bit on a used car depending on some of those factors like miles and quality and things like that.
Right. Bottom line, the C8 Corvette is still a hot car to get even on the aftermarket.
Yes, it is.
Buddy, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about Corvette racing and Corvette rumors here on Corvette Today.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
Mid-America Motorworks has been the industry leader and aftermarket supplier and manufacturer of Corvette replacement parts and accessories since 1974. We have what you need for all years and generations of Corvette. Whether you need a door panel or seat cover for your C1 Corvette, or the latest shirt, jacket, hat, or lifestyle accessory to complement your new C8, you can get it at Mid-America Motorworks. So if you're restoring, repairing, replacing, or simply researching your Corvette, Mid-America Motorworks is the place to go. Visit our website at mamotorworks.com and shop Corvettes by generation or specific year. Or call us Monday through Saturday toll-free at 800-500-1500 and talk to one of our Corvette experts to help you get the right part or accessory. Pursue your passion with Mid-America Motorworks.
VetteFinders.com is the internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25, and every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetteFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetteFinders.com, the internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening in the world of Corvette. In this Racing and Rumors section, we'll start with racing and get a little preview of Le Mans coming up.
Yeah, we're kind of in a lull right now with any kind of real racing news, but Corvette Racing is preparing for Le Mans, and that happens actually in 2 weeks. That's June 11th and 12th. Again, I tell you, just sign up for the Motor Trend app. I think it's like $5 a month. They even give you like a 7-day cancellation if you decide to do that. So if you just want to get it for the race, you can do that and cancel. I've actually had my Motor Trend app since last year, and it's been great because I can also watch all the IMSA races as well with that. Spend the $5 a month and just get it. Your life will be so much happier when be able to watch Corvette racing in France. The actual Le Mans activities begin this weekend coming up with scrutineering in downtown Le Mans on June 3rd and 4th. That's this Friday and Saturday. And then the test day is actually Sunday, June 5th. We're going to be in the thick of Le Mans coverage here before we know it. The first practice sessions for Le Mans begins Wednesday, June 8th. And then, of course, the race is on that Saturday and Sunday. Good stuff coming here. Very excited to see the cars back in France. We're going to have a big crowds over there. I get emails from the guy that handles the Corvette Corral at Le Mans. They've got a great crowd in store for the team to support them there. Everything should be good. There is an IMSA race next weekend as well, the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle Park. This is only DPI and the GTD regular cars. There's no GTD Pro cars because we're over in France for Le Mans. Good stuff happening there. Of course, we're going to be supporting Jake and the Corvette boys. Le Mans is probably the most exciting time of the year for Corvette racing fans, and boy, it'd be nice to finish on top of the podium this year.
That would be great. I'm so excited for Le Mans this year because we're getting back to normal, and it's going to be a great race with Corvette there, so I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of racing, though, IndyCar's Connor Daly takes NBC's Parker Klingerman around the Indy track in a Z06 pace car. I was jealous about that. I wanted that ride.
That was good. Of course, we're recording this just before the Indianapolis 500, but leading up to the race, we've had a couple drivers take some people around in the cars. As you said, Connor Daly took Parker Klingerman, a NASCAR driver and NBC analyst in the Z06 pace car. Very nonchalant drive around the 2.5-mile oval, just talking away there. But, they're driving about 100, 150 as they get on the straights there. So they're moving out, but yet you can see the car's pretty smooth there. There was actually another one, too, just after we did our last podcast, and that one featured Joseph Newgarden. He took a Colts defensive tackle for a ride in a C8 Corvette pace car. And that was a little something because that defensive tackle is 6'7" tall and weighs 300 pounds.
Wow.
He was able to fit in the car, and actually he fit pretty good. Definitely watch both of those if you get a chance.
All right, we've got some juicy rumors here coming up. Keith, first off, the biggest rumor is Trifecta Performance claims that they have cracked the ECM in the C8 Corvette. Wow.
Yeah, it seems like a wow, and I was wow when I first caught that news, but then you start to think about it. And then the other thing, too, that's got a lot of people wondering is that they've really been quiet. They put out that one blog post on their site, and they've kind of been quiet about it. The reason why this is big news, obviously, Chevrolet and General Motors, the ECUs on the car's computers are encrypted to protect against hackers. And this is because the Corvettes and other General Motors products are now getting over-the-air updates, software updates, to this Global B electrical architecture that moves data around between the car. What they want is make sure that when they put out updates that they're all safe and secure and that no one can mess with them. Of course, that has also impacted the aftermarket tuning market, which wants to be able to put turbos on there and then go into the factory ECUs and then adjust them there.
Right.
What's been happening is they've been using these piggyback systems that basically are set up to trick certain sensors on the car to behave and then to assign like more fuel and other things through port injections and other things like the Fuel Tech USA method did. So obviously big news if we hear that Trifecta did crack this ECU on the car, but more and more it's starting to sound like the same kind of crack that was done by HP tuners with the 2019 ZR1, and that was to replace the encrypted ECU with a programmable version. That will allow you then to make those changes there, but here's the problem. At least in Trifecta's initial blog post that they talked about, they were unable to go past 100% of the factory tune settings in the ECU. They could decrease those settings, but they couldn't go above them. The problem actually may lie in other ECU modules connected on the car. Imagine that a braking ECU module might be looked to confirm a certain programming aspect for the other ECU, and if it doesn't work out, if there's a checksum in there that doesn't check out, it's just going to default to the factory tune. There's still a lot of going on here, and my knowledge on some of this stuff is limited in terms of just hands-on experience, but I do read a lot, and this is what we're thinking is they just could have a lot more chips that they'd have to swap out to actually do a full tune on the car. I think they're going to be limited, at least in the near term.
Well, it's very interesting. I'm anxious to hear more from Trifecta, so this will be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, these next two rumors are very interesting. First off, the online 2023 Z06 Owner's Manual confirms that the Z06 will go 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, they don't come out and say it, but the manual has a table in there depicting the minimum and maximum miles per hour that you can shift the car in. And we're specifically talking Z06. For example, you can upshift into second gear as little as 9 miles an hour, but then in third gear, you can downshift into second gear at 69 miles an hour. So if you think about that, you know, your spread for that second gear is 9 miles an hour to 69 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But it's the fifth gear that's the beast in this Z06. You can shift from fourth to fifth as little as 29 miles an hour. However, you can shift from sixth down to fifth gear as high as 188 miles an hour.
Wow.
So think about that. Fifth gear has a spread of 29 miles per hour at its lowest setting to 188 miles per hour at its highest setting. The supposition is that with just that 12 miles an hour to go to get you to 200, that sixth gear should give you the ability to cross over the 200 miles. But here's then where it gets interesting. That graph will actually show that at sixth gear and seventh gear, you're going to be aero limited. So what we're thinking is like the C8 Stingray, that base model is going to be faster than the Z51, 194 miles an hour compared to the 184, just because of downforce and more aerodynamics. So we should see the base Z06, which has a more streamlined body, be faster than the Z07 with the dive planes and the high wing on the back that's designed to keep the car planted to the ground. That's our supposition, is that it should be a 200-mile-plus supercar.
Well, and to add on to this rumor, there was an enthusiast that calculated the top-end speed of the C8 Z06 at 208 miles per hour. How did that calculate?
Yeah, this is pretty good. We've got the formula on the site. It comes from the Corvette Forum. This guy's obviously a superhero with his power being math. He came up with a formula tested against the Porsche 992 GT3, and he found that he was within 1 mile per hour of the official top speed with his formula. So based on his numbers, he's thinking that the Z07 performance package, again, aero limited, will have a top speed of 194 miles an hour, while the standard Z06 will have a top speed of 208 miles an hour. And he does offer a plus or minus on his computations of plus 2 miles an hour or so. So it could be 206, but it could be 210.
Wow.
Pretty cool there. Of course, it's still not quite as fast as the ZR1, which had a rated top speed of 212 miles an hour. Very close there, but we'll have to see once we get some official numbers, and hopefully we will get some official numbers on this, because people just like to know how fast their car can go. Obviously, little chances they do that fast, but boy, it's nice to know that you could.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, how much horsepower do you need? How much can you really use? How much top-end speed can you use, right?
Exactly. And you know what? There are those events that allow you to run on airport runways and stuff that do top speed. So it's just nice to know where you'd fall.
It's always nice to know that you got the horsepower and the top-end speed available if needed, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, and the last rumor, Keith, the C8 Z06 was spotted, and the Wishbone was the same as the body color. That was kind of cool looking.
Yeah, you know, since Chevrolet first put out the very first picture of the Z06, we know a lot of Corvette enthusiasts have been unhappy with the way the trim appears around the side intakes. When you have the body color trim, the EFY body color trim, it sort of blends into the car. So for those people that were really unhappy with the carbon flash spear on the car, it is an opportunity to really blend it in a bit more. And I know a lot of people shit should be happy with that. We actually saw the EFY body color vents on an export spec Z06. These are the Corvette Z06s with the quarter-mounted exhaust. Should just be another option that customers can choose whether they want the carbon flash trim or if they want to go with the EFY body color trim. It's great to have choices.
Well, for me, I need a fourth choice, and that's the carbon fiber Wishbone.
Yeah, we've seen this for the Stingray, not to get off topic here, but they're supposed to be offering a factory OEM carbon fiber boomerang. We just haven't seen it yet, nor have we seen the carbon fiber high wing, although we've seen pictures that they were supposedly offering it. Who knows what that stuff is, but boy, we sure like to get it.
Well, I'll be over here waiting patiently for that carbon fiber, buddy.
I know you will be, Steve.
Let's take our final break, Keith, and when we come back, we will talk about the lighter side of Corvette here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
American Hydrocarbon is your one-stop shop for custom interior, exterior, and engine bay items for your C4 through C8 Corvette. We can help you create a custom look for your Corvette with carbon fiber or 10 different color patterns and styles. Whether it's a custom-made engine cover for your new C8 mid-engine Corvette or custom-made C4 interior upgrades, American Hydrocarbon can help you transform your Corvette into a best-in-class show car. And now we're proud to announce that we can produce and distribute officially licensed GM products for the C8 Corvette. That includes the front splitter, side skirts, engine appearance panels, and engine fluid caps. Plus, we now also carry the C8 Speedline side skirts along with the engine appearance package and high wing. Our products have been featured in Vet and Corvette magazines. Give us a call, 813-476-5638. Visit our updated website at AmericanHydrocarbon.com or email us at pat@AmericanHydrocarbon.com. Let us help you make your Corvette the car you've always wanted it to be. American Hydrocarbon.
Stretch the life of your Corvette's paint with Nova Stretch, the performance protective cover. From bugs to rock chips, Nova Stretch covers protect your C5 through C8 Corvette, utilizing stretch fabric technology and an innovative fastening system for quick installation and easy removal and storage. Made in the USA for a tailored fit, the patented design and breathable mesh protects your Corvette without rubbing or chafing the paint like traditional covers. And unlike clear film or old-time car bras, Nova Stretch provides full front-end coverage including the grille, keeping radiators and heat exchangers clean and debris-free. Visit novastretch.com and use the code CorvetteToday15 to get 15% off your order. Protect your Corvette with Nova Stretch.
You're listening to the Corvette Today podcast with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett. He's with CorvetteBlogger.com. You can find all these stories and get a deeper dive on any of them at CorvetteBlogger.com. Our third and final section covers the lighter side of Corvette. Keith, it was nice to see Corvette bring home another award from Envy as the best premium sports car.
Yeah, this is actually the Envy Award brought to you by an organization called In Moment. They look at comfort, quality, performance, safety, and ownership costs, and they did a study with with nearly 300,000 domestic owners and 50,000 Canadian owners. And from that, they found that the Corvette Stingray is the best premium sports car. So yeah, nice to have another feather in Chevrolet's cap and another award on the trophy shelf.
And speaking of Chevrolet, I was really surprised to see that Chevrolet announced they are not going to SEMA this year. What's going on with that?
Yeah, this is a really big surprise. What had happened earlier was that Ford and Honda had already announced a pullout, and maybe they just thought, well, if Ford's not there, then we don't need to have the big footprint. Those displays and those footprints, those cost millions and millions of dollars to put on. It obviously is a major expense, but for us, you have Chevrolet Performance, which is all about engines for the aftermarket. And the fact that they're not there is very surprising. Now, we'll see their product there, maybe as part of other displays and other booths, but not a specific Chevrolet Performance where you could talk to the engine designers and builders and stuff and get your questions answered there. That's going to be a big hole at the show and disappointing for sure.
I was surprised. Hey, let's talk about Corvette sales at the Mecum Indianapolis auction. That is the 35th annual Spring Classic. We had some big numbers for Corvette sales there.
Yeah, these numbers are put together by our Detroit bureau, Steve Burns, and we're going to have a full breakout of these probably early next week when we do our article on that. He's going to wrap that up for us. But we do have the highlights, top 15 cars. The amounts trailed behind Kissimmee a little bit. Kissimmee is a huge auction, the largest Mecum auction of the year, I believe, but prices are still high across the board. You know, in that top 15, 13 of those cars were either C1s, C2s, or C3s. The classics still rule there. 10 of the top 15 cars were C2s. So of those cars, of those generations, it's the mid-years that just continue to rule these auctions. One of the highlights of the auction, great money for the 1971 ZR2 convertible. There's only 2 of these cars in the world. The ZR2 convertible, it's got the 454 with the 450 horsepower engine. It sold for $962,500.
Wow.
Fantastic money there. The hottest Corvettes offered are split windows and ZR1s, according to Steve. He said 13 of the top 15 were the C1, C2s, and C3s. So those other 2 cars were 2019 ZR1s, and they sold in the top 10. Steve also tells us to keep our eyes on C4 ZR1s as they are creeping upwards with their prices. 5 of the 6 offered at Indianapolis sold for $44,000 or more. So that's great news for those C4 ZR1 owners that have just been waiting to see some price movements on their car. Hopefully that's happening now. A couple more numbers here. 10 C8 Corvettes were sold at Indianapolis. Those price ranges were between $103,000 and $176,000. And the top C8 Corvettes sold were both the C8R edition. We had a hypersonic gray convertible sell at the high at $176, and then a hypersonic coupe sold for $148. Those 1,000 units of the C8R editions have continued to sell very well.
That's great. Also, this was really cool. At the National Corvette Museum, there was a letter from Zora to Ed Cole, and it was called Turning Points, and it was the very first time it was on display. Tell us what that letter really contained when Zora wrote to Ed.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So the National Corvette Museum has thousands and thousands of documents and archives and things in their collection that we've never seen before. And while there's been a representation of this 3-page letter on the wall, we've never seen the real one. So it takes us back into history a little bit. Zora first saw the 1953 Corvette in January 1953 at the Waldorf Astoria, wrote to Chevrolet, and actually landed himself a staff engineering job. So now he's on the team. And later that year, December 1953, he writes a letter to his boss, Chevrolet chief engineer Ed Cole, and basically he lays out this memo, and the actual memo is called Thoughts Pertaining to Youth, Hot Rodders, and Chevrolet. He's basically telling his bosses that Ford is kicking our butt. They have all these products for hot rodders and their jalopies, and they're hopping up these cars, and guess what? When they grow up and they get into a career, they're going to sell that hot rod jalopy, and they're going to get a Ford family car, a Ford truck. They're going to continue to buy Fords because that's what they started with. And Chevrolet was actually working on their V8s at the time. And Zora said, when we release these V8 engines, we should also have a ready supply of engineered performance products to go along with it. And let's let these youths now start hopping up Chevrolets with their performance parts. Then hopefully when they get older, they'll move into Chevrolet sedans and other family cars as their careers grow and their family grows. That's kind of the genesis behind it. So he wrote this letter, and it really is kind of like the holy grail for the Chevrolet Performance Group of where are we going. Now we look at it back today, you know, there's been over 100 million small block Chevys built The Chevrolet engine platform leads aftermarkets, the LS platforms for sure, especially that LS3, which is just, I think, one of the most venerable small block engines ever built for Chevrolet. Performance-wise, there's a lot of things you can do with that. But it all started back to this letter. So at the museum's NCM Bash, they brought out the letter. It's all protected in archive sleeves and stuff. But you can see the actual letter, Zora's signature on it. It's yellowing a bit because it's obviously 60 years old or so. But really incredible stuff there. Great video. Check it out. It's just a piece of Corvette history that you've never seen before.
That's so cool. And Zora was such a visionary, not just a great engineer, but he could really see what was going on. And remember, Zora was the one that said Corvette needs to go mid-engine to compete. And this mid-engine C8 Corvette was literally 60 years in the making because of Zora.
It was unbelievable. Yep, that's for sure. Wish he could be here to see it. That's the one thing, is that we wish that he could see it.
I know. I think about that all the time. He would be so excited to see this new car. Finally, Keith, the 2023 Corvette Z06's exclusive new manual launch mode is going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a tire smoker, isn't it?
Yeah, this is another thing that we found in the 2023 Corvette Owner's Manual. I read it, and I'm like, this really sounds like burnout mode to me. So I reached out to Vehicle Chief Engineer Josh Holder, who confirmed us all for it. Think about it this way. You're at the track, you pull up to your staging now, you want to warm your tires. All you have to do is you pull back on the paddles to declutch the car. And then while you keep one of them down, you basically retoggle one of them again. So it's a plus or minus. It doesn't matter which one. But you'll see a light then light up on the dash. The performance transmission light will come on. It will tell you that now the performance transmission is now active. What that does is, the way that Josh explained it to us, is because it's so hard to really, it revs so fast. He says it's so hard to know the launch point for that. The manual launch actually takes into consideration. It will help you get that smoky burnout that you want. He says that the regular launch control is for a fast launch, clean launch, but the manual launch control is for a smoky launch. Some interesting stuff there. Some of the other things that you can do is, if you're on the track and you do like a hairpin turn, you can easily activate the performance transmission and launch out of that curve. They call it a rapid exit. It's just another exclusive feature that's found on the Z06. This is one that I'm very excited to try.
Yeah, me too. This sounds awesome. Can't wait.
And we know what? We know you're Michelin guys, and we have to ask them about this, because I'm sure that they love the idea of Corvette Z06 owners smoking their tires all the time.
That should be cool. I can't wait. Well, buddy, thanks for being here on Corvette Today. We will see you in 2 weeks, and happy summer.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it, Steve, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, and please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And also, thanks to our sponsors, Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. American Hydrocarbon at AmericanHydrocarbon.com. True Wealth & Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. Also, Nova Stretch Bras. Use the code Corvette Today 15 and get 15% off your total purchase at novastretch.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.